everyone, I'm Yvonne, a children's librarian here at the Manchester City Library, and welcome to Elementary Experiments. Here we are going to do experiments with activities and crafts that are aimed at elementary grades 1 through 6. And this is going to be with a focus on STEAM, or science, technology, engineering, art, and math. This spring, we are going to be doing our in-person elementary experiments once a month at 3:30 p.m. on the second Tuesday of the month. So this is a little different than we've been doing before. We are doing it only once a month, and this video will be posted after the in-person event. So if you're unable to come to the in-person event but still are interested in elementary experiments, keep watching. I'll walk you through our activity and our craft. We may have extra crafts at the children's reference desk at the Manchester City Library. So if you are in, stop and pick up one for anyone in grades 1 through 6, or just gather the supplies that we will put up on screen. I also want to remind everyone that we have started to do our Slime of the Month Club, which is going to be on the last Wednesday of the month. So we still do have that coming up. If Tuesdays are not a good day for you, but Wednesdays might work, check out the last Wednesday of the month. But definitely remember to register for that because a Slime of the Month does fill up pretty fast and it needs more precise supplies, and we have to have enough bowls for everyone. So definitely make sure that you put in your name for that if you would like, or possibly next month elementary experiments. Also, if you have younger kids, someone who's not quite in first grade yet, please remember we have Storytime Science. So check out that for anyone younger who would like to do an in-person event. But I think that's everything for now, so let's get into this month's elementary experiments. Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's elementary experiments where we are doing air traffic control. For our activity, we are going to build a weather vane so we can see which way the wind is blowing, which will hopefully help us in our craft where we are going to make 3 different types of paper airplane and see which flies the best. All right, so I hope that you are ready for our activity. I will put up what we need and then I will meet you back here to get started. Welcome to our activity where we are going to be building a weather vane. So for this, you should have gathered a bottle. We have here a arrow printout. If you do not have this printout, you can draw something similar. We have a straw, we have a paper plate, some tape or some glue, some markers for decoration, which is optional, and then some heavy things. I have a bag full of rocks. And then, of course, we are going to need scissors if you have not already cut out your arrow. So basically what we are going to do is we are going to decorate and then cut out our arrow. And one thing that is very important is this little stick downwards part of our arrow, because this is actually going to go into our straw, and then our straw and our arrow are going to go into our bottle, which we will secure to our plate and weigh down with our heavy items. This is essentially going to be our weather vane. We're going to do a couple other things, like put the cardinal directions on our bottle. And then when we actually take it outside, you would also want a compass to figure out exactly which directions are, or if you don't have a compass, you can use the sun or other landmarks to kind of figure out which way is north, south, east, and west. So first we are going to write the 4 cardinal directions. So for your bottle, I suggest you use a permanent marker, or if you are going to use other types of markers, you might want to write it actually on some tape, or to write it and then cover it with tape so it doesn't smear off. So we've got N for north. And then directly across from that, we've got S for south. And then if we are got north, south, got north up on the top, south on the bottom. East should be on the side here. And then west on the other. There's lots of different ways of remembering this, but how I learned it was never eat soggy waffles, going in the clockwise direction. Okay. So now that we've got those labeled, we can decorate and cut out our arrow in whichever way works best for you. I do want to remind you guys that if you're using something that adds liquid, like markers or paint, it is possible that you might end up curling your arrow a little bit. So please try and apply less liquid, especially if you guys are using paint. All right. All right, now I've got my arrow, and I am going to gently insert it into my straw. So you may need to fold the end of your arrow stick slightly, the paper. My straw is a little bit bigger, I think, than most, so it just slides right in. Now we are going to take a very small piece of tape, and we are just going to carefully tape our arrow to our straw. Okay, not bad. And then we are going to put our straw and our arrow into our thing. And we just want to make sure that it can turn without a problem. All right, I think that's all right. Next, we are going to take some tape and we are going to secure our bottle to our paper plate. Of course, you can also decorate your paper plate. That's one of the fun things about using paper. If you don't have a paper plate, you can use like a regular plate or something, as long as you have permission, because we're going to need to take it outside and put it on the ground. But basically, we just want the paper plate to help steady our bottle so it's less likely to tip over. And then we are also going to use the paper plate to put our heavy objects on to further stabilize it. Because plastic, as you guys might know from seeing trash left outside, is very light and it will want to blow away on the wind, the very wind that we are trying to find the direction of, right? So, if we imagine that this is outside, I can pick it up because it's well attached now. I'll take it outside, I put it down, I have my bag of rocks in my case. So I would take some of my rocks and put them on. Alright. That way it's not really going to go anywhere. And then I would basically wait for a good breeze to come by. But since I don't have a breeze indoors, and honestly right now it's raining outside and my paper arrow would not survive that, I'm going to simulate some wind with my fan, and we'll see if this works. So what we're hoping will happen is the tail of our arrow should actually catch the wind and be pushed backwards so that the tip of our arrow should be pointing towards the direction of the wind, right? And this is where we also want to set up our our bottle when we place it down. So I forgot to bring my compass out with me. But I know just because of I have looked at some maps and I know how the building is oriented. So this is going to be west, north, south, and east. So I have my bottle lined up. So the cardinal directions are there. And then let us simulate some wind. So all right. So you guys saw how when the wind first started, it sort of did a little bit of a swing around, but it ended up pointing the correct direction. So it ended up pointing west, which was the way that the wind that I was creating was coming from, right? So that's pretty cool. At least in this controlled environment, we can see that it works. It'll be very interesting to see if we can get some good readings outside. So please go forth and test that. So a couple of things that you can do with your weather vane is you can test to see which way sort of like the prevailing winds are. And the way you do that is you would take your bottle out like once a day for a week or two and record in like a notebook or on a piece of paper which way the wind is coming from. Then you would look at your recordings and see if there was a direction that the wind was coming from like the most often. One thing you want to be careful about, especially if you are trying to find the prevailing winds in a place like Manchester, is that tall buildings can block the wind, tall buildings or other structures, right? So that can be tricky. You want to try and find an open area to take your readings from. Another thing you can do is see if you think that this type of arrow is the best. You can try to do arrows, other types of arrows in different shapes, or possibly even try different shapes entirely and see which gives you the best wind direction or most accurate wind direction. So that is covering our weather vane. But it might also be useful to use our weather vane with our craft that we are doing because something that people... But our weather vane is also helpful for our craft because we are doing our air traffic control this week. We want to know the wind direction when we are launching our paper planes, if we do it out, especially if we do it outside in the elements. If we have wind going one direction while we're launching one plane, and then we are trying to launch a second one to compare, if the wind is going in a different direction, that is going to affect our results. So definitely keep this on hand for testing out our craft. I am going to move it aside so we have room to do our craft, which I will grab and meet you back here to put those together. All right, so our craft today is these papers. So if you are able to pick them up from the library, we will have extras as long as they last. I will also try and add in where these can be found. These are actually all borrowed from NASA. So you should be able to print them out at home if you are not able to get into the library. Again, I will hopefully be able to find all of those links and have them up for you. But we have 3 different types of craft here. Of course, we have our instructions. These instructions are mainly for our ringling, which is kind of the most unusual and possibly the most difficult to put together. So we're going to start there. Let's see. Okay, so this is the piece of paper for our ringling. It's actually only one side, the other side is blank. So we are going to look at the first fold, which is labeled here. Our first fold, it is the bold dashed line. And we are just going to fold along that line. It's also basically just diagonal. So if you do not have a template, this one you still may be able to do. Okay, then we are going to go about a ½ inch down. If you have the template, it says the second fold line on the dotted line. And we are going to fold there. All right. Now we are going to take the ends and we're going to bring them around. What I think is helpful is to kind of run your finger, like pinch the paper and then kind of pull your finger through. That'll help the paper get a more round curve when we bring these two edges together. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to try and tuck these folds together. So we're going to take one end and just sort of slide it in between there. Not a super secure, but it should hold. We can also use some tape to secure that as well. But basically, this is your ring wing glider. If you want to do a kind of a separate tuft with this, you can like measure the diameter and then make a smaller or larger ring wing to just test how the change in diameter will affect its flight. But since we have two other different planes going, I am just going to show you how to make those as well. Okay, so for these two planes, we are basically going to go along with the numbers. They both have short instructions here as well. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to, for this one, which is the NASA Glenn PA2L, we are going to fold along the solid lines in order. All right, and so we're actually going to fold in half this way. So we want to cover our numbers. So we had our number 1 fold right here. So we folded it so that that number is covered. Our next is here with 2. So we're going to fold along that line so that that 2 is covered. And then if we look at our paper, we can find the 3, which is just directly opposite. And then over here we have the 4, which actually was created here when we had the 2 fold over. And back over to the 5 on this side. And then our back on this side again, the 6. And finally our number 7. Okay, so we've got that all set. Put it with our ring wing. And then we have this one here, which is the NASA Langley. And again, we've got our first one here. Right, number 1, then number 2. All right, and then we've got number 3. You see that folding down 3 makes a complete 4 line here. We've got 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, if we straighten our flyer out, we've got this. And on this one here, we do have the option of using flax. So we can grab our scissors if we would like, and just cut on these dotted lines, right? And then these flaps would help control like its direction, like how it turns in the air, right? But we've got all three of these paper craft that we can now test. So these last two are pretty straightforward as far as how you fly them. You hold it along the body here and then just sort of let it go. We've got our second one here, same way. Our ring wing is a little bit of an odd duck, as kind of you might have been able to tell just due to its design. So to launch our ring wing, you're supposed to take your pointer and index finger. You're supposed to take that and your thumb and sort of pinch between these V's here. Then what we're going to do is we're going to put it like this, like we're going to throw it, right? And then basically throw it this way and about at your ear as when you're going to let it go. And you do need some space, but it does glide pretty lovely if you can get it right. Again, it's a different kind of plane. You might need a few tries. Let me see if I can show you guys. I honestly don't think there's going to be enough visual distance here, but all right. I don't know if you guys saw that at all. But it is a bit odd, but definitely worth testing. And like I said, you can see how far each of these planes go. Look at how they fly. And then think about, like, if you were in charge of these planes, if you were designing them, building them, or if they were just given to you, what kinds of tasks would they be best at? If you think about construction vehicles, they all have different jobs they have to do, right? So you wouldn't necessarily have a digger trying to do what a plow would do. Even though they are similar and they could probably do each other's job, they are kind of designed for these specific tasks. So what kind of tasks do you think these different planes would be made for, or what would you assign them to do? But yeah, I think that's all we have. I hope that you guys enjoyed making these three very different planes, and that you enjoy testing them out. I'm going to hunt them down before they get stepped on. All right, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed our aircraft traffic control and being able to play with finding out wind direction and our different designs of paper airplanes. As per usual, I will add some recommended reading if you're interested in making more paper airplanes or learning more about airplanes, their history, and how we use them in general. So this is the last of our spring elementary experiments. During the summer, we are going to be doing our summer reading from the end of June to the beginning of August. It is going to run 7 weeks. During that time, we will be having elementary experiments every other week. So please, if you are in the Manchester area and you are going into grades 1 through 6, please look those up and register if you would like to attend. We are going to be doing a lot of looking into the art or the science inside of art because we have Color Our World as our summer reading theme. So we are going to be doing a ton of art things as well as looking into the science side of it. However, because we are going to be very busy this summer and a little bit short-handed, I do not think we're going to be able to do our step-by-step walkthroughs that we usually do online. I will try and post just the written instructions and hopefully an example of the finished product, but I do not know that we're going to be able to do more than that during the hectic time of the summer. But keep an eye out for fall, where we will kind of resume our normal schedule. All right, I hope to see you guys this summer, or if not, at least see your views online. But until then, I will say Goodbye.